It is 7:58 on a Wednesday morning here in Bye Bye City Leyte. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Stand by for feed. Okay, here I am. Let me adjust things. I just woke up. I woke up late. I woke up late again. All right, let me know. Sound check, sound check. I see my lighting is all messed up as usual. That's all right. We'll go with what we know. Let's see who all's in the house. Genzel, Larice, Michelle Ann, Larry Lee. Who else is here? Anna Mae. Tim. I saw Tim in the house. I saw people saying hey to Tim. Sekbuchi is here. Sekbuchi is on the list at 111. That's your number forever. Marian Salongo is here, or Marlon Salongo is here. No, Marian Salongo is here. Where did I get Oh, I do have a subscriber named Marvin. That's why. Rider Adventures in the house. Are we giving away money today? I just don't know. Michelle Ann, there you are up on the screen. There's Larice. All right, let's get underway. So today, by the way, I just want to say hello to everybody else too. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Dan at Dan and Minnie's Journey, located right now in the basement studio of our house, mere steps away from downtown. Bye Bye City Leyte, where regular guy is making his way down to Masan, who bypassed Ormoc and Bye Bye Leyte, but maybe and has taken a ferry across from Masan to parts unknown. So anyway, hopefully regular guy has already posted his most current video in Tacloban a couple of days ago, and I have yet to. I know it's kind of a shame, but I have yet to visit Tacloban, and it is worth visiting if you look at you look at the video that regular guy posted. It's definitely worth visiting. Daisy Lynn Castro is here. Daisy Lynn, how are you today? Rachel La Chica, I love that name for some reason. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I know the La Chica. Princess Sarah is here. Princess Sarah was last live stream winner. Yep, she walked away with 200 pesos. Crystal's Adventures in the house. Crystals, how are you? Crystals in the top 2% of Facebook creators for the week. Sammy Chavez is in the house. And let's get underway. What are we talking about today? What are we talking about? Oh, I just had a few thoughts. I had a few thoughts to share. So last night I had a very, very strange dream. It was from a friend that I used to work with. It was a dream about a friend that I used to work with who was making some kind of confession. You know, it was one of those type of confessions. Man, Minnie wouldn't have liked the dream. Yeah, she wasn't in it. It was very, very strange. You know, I know that, you know, when you go to sleep, your brain starts to misfire, and I have not thought of this person in a very, very long time. As a matter of fact, it's been like 20 years, 30 years, could even have been 40 years. I don't know. It's been an awfully, awfully long time. And so I thought it odd that I haven't even thought of this person in the conscious state, let alone the subconscious state. So usually when I get dreams like this, they usually fall in the category, for me anyway, um, your dreams are your own business, of visitation dreams after somebody has passed on. So that's kind of that's what I started thinking. I woke up, I remembered the dream. Good morning, Marion. How are you this morning? And I started thinking, well, geez, I after a while, if you have vivid dreams a lot, you know what they represent. And so this dream was had something to do with them saying something. Dan, I never had a chance to really have a sit down talk with you, and blah 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 blah. And then they start talking about how they always considered me to be a friend and things like that. And so now I start wondering, are they coming for me, or has this person left the planet? So I mean, if you're really in tune with your dreams, um, you'll know what the dreams are all about just because you have experienced them before. Yeah, the brain misfires. It's rarely firing on all cylinders and good fuel. That's true. That's true. The glucose thing and all that going on. Richie, La Chica. Who else is here? Someone stepped in. Oh, Ela J, LJ Rose. How are you? LJ Rose never misses a video that I put out there. Um, so you'll know after a while, if you have these dreams, if they become fairly common, then you'll know that this person most likely has departed this realm, this planet, and they're coming by and they're saying, "See you on the other side." And so I woke up. I woke up. This is probably why I overslept, because I was thinking about it, thinking about it, thinking about it. Because I woke up and I didn't want to forget the dream. So it's kind of it can freak you out a little bit if you're not used to having these dreams, these types of dreams. And I'm kind of wondering if others of you have experienced such things. For example, I'll give you just a couple more examples. Another example would be I have had visitation dreams from my father, which is interesting, because I would say that we spent more time talking to each other in the dreams than we ever did in real life in person. That may not be true. I mean, when you have a big family, when you have 10 kids, and you're the third born child, which explains everything about me. Well, then you don't have a whole lot of time when you're working two jobs and three jobs supporting your family. And Moelma's here. Hi, Moelma. In order to have a sit down chat with your kids, so that's the thing. And so we do most of our talking from the great beyond. So now you may know that's one reason why I don't fear death. I fear death because I'm fearing the unknown, but I don't fear the actual event. You miss people. Yeah, of course you do. But they'll be waiting for you when you get over onto the other side. Tim's here. Jack Hobson is in the chat. Mawelma's here. Hello, good morning, Sir Dan and Minnie. Okay, so I had the God voice hit me. I know how weird it is that I act upon the things that are being said to me. Am I schizoid? I don't know. I can't say that I'm not. Schizophrenic, look that up. Google it. I'm not saying that I'm not. But I mean, when the voices come through in your head and they're very, very clear, Now I'm switching subjects, by the way. We're leaving the dream. And it says to do something, it can be compelling. It can be so powerful that you just don't wait. You don't wait. You take action immediately. Immediately you take action and you do what the voice is telling you to do. And that happened to me the other day. That happened to me the other day where someone's name popped into my head, and I said, "Oh man, I gotta contact them, and I gotta see if they're okay." And so apparently, so this person I never had contact information. The person from the dream. We're talking about two separate things. We're talking about the God voice and a dream. The God voice I will hear in my waking life, and very seldom in a dream. And then the other thing is a dream that usually involves somebody coming by. It's usually to tell me something profound, and the result is usually that they're saying goodbye to me. Dan, we'll see you on the other side. And don't fear the journey. Something like that. It's very bizarre. Um, and so uh, that brings me. So we're kind of talking about philosophical stuff again. We're what your belief is your belief and mine is mine, and sometimes they can conflict in the moment. They can conflict, but I try not to hate. I try to celebrate. How oftentimes I was watching a YouTube video this morning, and it's from a very successful YouTuber, and I can't figure out if his uber success is coming from his success in his business, his actual physical brick and mortar business, or is it coming from him teaching other people how to do it? Because a lot of money can be made by teaching people how to do something, and of course, a lot of money is being made on YouTube by sharing those experiences with people. And so all I try to do, it reminded me that most people don't smile when they enter the room. People rarely smile. They, but I have found that they smile more frequently in the Philippines. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I could say that I hardly ever can step into a room in the Philippines and not have a person smile. So yeah, they're probably thinking, "Oh, I hope he doesn't stay long." But think about it. Think about it for a moment. Even your own family, if you come in, you're greeting them with a good morning, you're and a smile. Good morning, and you're smiling. And if it's your spouse, you're saying, "All is forgotten from the night before." Then the whole direction the day goes, it seems to change a little bit. You seem to be setting it up for the person yourself to have a beautiful day, which otherwise may not have occurred had you not gone up to them to say hello. Okay, so I thought I'd share that with you because it does. There are ways of how should I say it? There are workarounds for every roadblock that may come your way. That I think that that's it's loosely associated to what I want to talk about today, and that is this phenomena that's occurring in the West. That is, I mean, if you're in the West, it's right in your face. But the thing that I worry about is the statistics, the demographic stats are kind of showing that it's headed this way. It's headed towards the Philippines. Now, have you ever heard of that thing? Where does it come from? The Bible? Since I don't read the Bible, I don't really know, right? I just listen to what other people tell me, and then I repeat it like a bird, like a parrot. And that is that the meek shall inherit the earth. Is it true? There's no meeker person than the one on camera sitting right before you. No, that is not true. Oh man, some days I could be totally and completely full of myself. Oh, maybe I need another cup of coffee, right, Jack? And Nicole is in the house. Nicole, thank you so much for being here. Puts a smile, puts a great big smile on my face. See? So it's good practice to get up. I tell everybody if you want to change your life, you want to change it forever, you go straight to the mirror when you first get up, the closest one to you. They're not hard to find in the Philippines because people like standing in front of a mirror and in front of a window here in the Philippines. And basically, you just tell yourself how happy you are to be alive, how happy you are, and how much you love yourself and love the people around you. And it sets up your entire day, your entire week. But we have to remind ourselves often of who we are. That's one thing that I noticed. For example, back in the olden days, I suppose you use CDs now, right? Or the disc you put in your car, or you put your podcast on, and it starts talking about you're great, you're fantastic, you're no less of a human being than the one that's driving and who just cut you off on your commute to work, stuff like that. They're motivational tapes. And back in the late '70s and '80s, these were always my go-to. I'd slap the cassette tape. Do you guys even know what a cassette tape looks like? I think you might have to Google it. Yeah, well, the Meek they're not Westerners, I don't think. I mean, we have poor, um, meek. We have homeless people. We have poor, but they're not meek. They're not meek. So anyway, they're anything but meek. They're more entitled than anything else. And why not? We're a rich country. We don't let anybody starve in the West, in the U.S. of A. We don't. Okay, one more thing before I get started. I'm going to dive right into this subject. Kind of like set it up, but I would like to know if my sound's okay because. So here's what happened, right? Here's what happened yesterday as I'm trying to figure out why isn't all my stuff working right? Right? I can't get this stupid thing to work. It's a cheap condenser mic anyway, and sounds like I'm in an echo chamber and all this other crap. I can't get my camera to work right. Can't get anything to work right. Do you guys remember the old days when it's plug and play? Even an old man like me, all she had to do was just plug it into USB or plug in the microphone and everything worked. The computer knew what to do, and now it goes through the cloud. And I don't know if this has anything to do with it. Jalen is here. Jalen, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Uh, Girly Senna's in the house. Michelle Lozada is number 120. She's in the. She's got a yellow tab in there now. All right. So, oh, by the way, if you want to be 121, then all you do is tell me, or you send me a message through Messenger. And yeah, Dan, you're broadcasting from the CR, right? So I hope I'm getting a little bit better sound today. And the reason why, Jerry, I call South Texas home, is in the house. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad you can make it. Albeit you're probably a little bit tired, but Smash is here. So I got my lapel mic on, except it's not on my lapel. And what I go and I discover that I've got three microphones that are all running at the same time. So I'm hoping I'm getting a little bit better sound, even though when I tested it out and I did a recording, it sounded like I was still in an echo chamber. But I had eliminated some of the feedback. You know, Little baby steps at a time. I got the resolution on the camera handled, I think. I'm not operating at 1080, but still it's way better than the computer laptop camera. I would say it is. So when you can start making out every imperfection on me, well, then don't look too hard because you'll find a lot of imperfections. So that's solved. But the thing is, I asked them, you know, when in doubt, you have to read the box, right? When in doubt, read the box label. So what happened when I went to the computer store? I said I want a high definition camera, but I don't want one with a built-in microphone. So yeah, I had multiple microphones on. So here's what was happening, right? I had the webcam. So this one turns out I told them I don't want one. Oh, this one doesn't have a mic, sir. I said, are you sure? They said, yeah, okay. And I'm too old to be reading labels. I don't have time for this. I'm retired, right? I'm retired and inspired. I have other people that work for me that handle these things. So anyway, a little joke there. A little retired joke there. A little retired joke. Okay. So I don't know. I just think that I need to do the disclaimer here, right? So the disclaimer is that this live stream, it's for entertainment purposes only. Do not try anything that Dan says at home. Don't take it and put it into practice without doing thorough research that, what Dan has to say may have some merit. All right. So it's for over 18 only, unless you're in here by special permission, because I've determined you to be an intellectual, very, very intelligent young person. You can be here, but not without my permission. And so if you're in here now and you're under 18, it's because you have my permission to be here. All right. I've given you the IQ test. You've passed, and so you're welcome to be here. But so this is for entertainment purposes only, and nothing that comes out of my mouth is to be considered one undeniable truth or fact. All right. It's for you to make up your own. All I do is share thought provoking information. That's all Dan is about. Think about this. Think about that. Think about this. Think about that. You know what Dan was talking about? More nonsense today. That's fine. See, you make up your own mind whether you think there's merit behind anything that I'm saying. But okay, so now we're going to start in. Before I do, though, I want to also say this. The meek, oh, by the way, the fan's on and the frogs are croaking in the background. Okay, so what is a frog predator bird? I meant to mention this earlier, right? If you want to get the frogs to shut up, you take your external speakers. I don't know if you can see this one, right? I have box speakers, so they don't. I can't get them to work right anyway. But they are working on my cell phone. Michelle, I got them to work on my cell phone. So if you go in there and you Google predator frogs, predator birds, right, or something, some such thing, put it in the correct order, okay? I'm talking fast and things come off the top of my head. Predator birds, frogs don't like, whatever it is, right? Frog's natural predator. If you do that and you put in there bird sounds, right? Once you identify the bird, you go bird sounds, crow, bird sounds. Then you take your external speakers and you set them. You open the window, point it in the direction of the frogs, where the most noise is coming from, and then you crank up the sound on your phone full blast so that the bird noise heads out into the field where the frogs are croaking. Guess what happens? Guess what happens? All of a sudden, it becomes silent and you're able to get some sleep. All of a sudden, the frogs hear the noise. They know a predator is nearby and they shut the heck up. They stop croaking because they don't want the predator bird to know where they're at. Hang with me. Hang with me. I'm genius, and I'm gonna share all my genius information with you. Manolin is in the house, and who else is here? Annie MC, welcome. So after last live stream, I'm gonna be honest. I got one. Why would I lie to you? I got one piece of hate email. Dan, I'm never listening to you again. You're phony baloney. You're phony baloney. Blah 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 blah. It had something to do with something I said about being transparent, being upfront, telling you exactly who I am. Des is here. Des is in the house. Um, Yeah. So now that we know who you really are, Dan, I'm never listening to you again. That's what they said. And I'm like, I'm like, well, what did I do? What did I do? All I do is try and tell you guys the truth. Folks, let me just address it this way. Everybody is after something. If you say that you're not, that you're just the goody goody, right? Going out there enjoying life. I can believe you. I believe you. If you say that. But most people are after something. They want something. They want something out of life. They want something out of YouTube. And a lot of people, they're chasing around the almighty dollar. Now, this is very, very understandable, right? For example, a lot of people are figuring out that they could use YouTube and Facebook to make uh, to market products that they're selling subtly. And I think it's brilliant. I love this idea. So I'm not talking about a full-on paid-for commercial. I'm talking about somebody going on Facebook and saying, "Hey, man, just would like to share with everybody that I tried this. I don't know, just pick any product, right? I tried this Hellman's mayonnaise on a burger, and boy, was it delicious." Well, come on, folks, come on. We come to find out that you're the distributor of Hellman's mayonnaise. You have an exclusive distribution agreement with the factory that makes the mayonnaise in the USA, wherever they're at, to distribute it in the Philippines. So I'm sitting there, I'm going, Hellman's mayonnaise, they have that? I send them a message. I want Hellman's mayonnaise. And boom, they ship it off to me, right? I think it's brilliant. I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't see what's wrong with me saying I send positive energy and cash. I try to send positive energy. I accompany it by having cash drawings, right? To catch people's attention so I can get views. Does that make me a bottom feeder? Is that any worse than some American going to Boracay and showing women wearing pieces of threads that they call string bikinis, and the next thing you know, they're getting a million views on Facebook? What's the motivation here? What's the motivation? So be angry if you will. Oh, Tim's saying he's a Miracle Whip kind of guy. Yeah, that has a connotation or two to it. Miracle Whip. Right, Tim. All I'm saying is I'm pleading with you. Is it not true? We're all chasing our dream. We just realized that our dream it'll come a little bit closer to fruition. The dream will become reality. One, if you share it with someone, and that's you guys, everybody, right? So you share it with everybody because you want to get a positive response back. You want to achieve your goals. After all, we don't know what they are. Only you know what they are. Let me see if I can get some more light on the subject. I'm going to push this camera back a little bit further. So, I mean, uh, what's wrong with that? I support you. I support you guys, don't I? I mean, I don't go into the channel and, you know, sometimes I do. Sometimes I'm lurking in the background. Mark is here. Hi, Mark. Uh, I don't go, I mean, that's how I support you. I support you with money. Can I do that? Can I do that? Can you please allow me to honor you by sending you a check? That's all I'm asking. Why would someone get upset about that? I have no idea. I have no idea why anyone would get mad at me for just laying it out there saying that, yeah, I'm doing something, I like something in return. I would like something in return. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to watch my channel. But here in the Philippines, it does, the culture does work like that. It is always tit for tat, right? Somebody does you a favor, and then you end up, uh, happy birthday, Des, and then you end up doing a favor for your neighbor. Dang, today I feel really, really bad because here I've been watching, that Des is doing a live stream contest giveaway, and then uh, I'm an imperfect person. Yeah, Gcash, that's right. Are you understand what I'm saying? In other words, everybody's here for something. No one has ever said to me, not to my face, that they were offended because I've sent you money. But listen, if I did offend you by sending you money, can I have it back, please? That's all I'm asking. If it doesn't set well with you or settle well with you for whatever reason, I respect you for that. I really do. But then all the money that I've sent you, can you please send it back? That's all I'm asking. No, no, no. No, no. I'm just kidding about that part. I'm just trying to make a point here. You you enjoyed it when you got it. So why are you mad at me for saying that I want to get something out of this? Oh my gosh. But if I chase you away because you don't want my point of view, you don't like my point of view, what can I do? What can I do to get you back? Do I have to stop being Dan? I can't do that. It's very difficult. I'm an old man. It's hard to change, it's very, very difficult to change. But now that being said, I was looking at my view hours. I was looking at my views this week, the last 48 hours in particular, and they're crashing and burning. They're crashing and burning. So I don't know what to do. So maybe they're right, the person that sent me the email, and maybe I need to heed the warning. But I've already let the cat out of the bag. I already let the cat out of the bag that I'm looking for something. I'm looking for count. I'm looking for numbers. I'm looking for YouTube success. I let the cat out of the bag, and then I told you how I was going to do it. Oh my goodness, life can be so complicated. I have no answers to this. I don't have an answer for everything. I can't all of a sudden stop being who I am. Yeah, exactly, Tim. You can't teach an old man new tricks. It cannot be done. And so the way I've gained my success in the past is by networking. That's the way you do it. You network, and then other people, once you share your dream, other people help you achieve that dream. But if they don't know what the dream is, if you haven't shared it with them, how can they help you achieve it? And I told you different ways that I do it. But anyway, do you feel as though you're being manipulated? That would be my next question for you. If you're being manipulated by Dan, you're being manipulated by just about everybody. LJ, do you feel as though that you've been manipulated? Anime, do you feel the manipulation creeping in? Uh, AJ, uh-oh, I knew that thunderstorm was coming. All right, so I won't be back if we black out. No, no, if Dan blacks out, obviously I won't be back. But if we end up having a blackout, I most likely will not return back to the stream. So yesterday's storm and last night's storm, they were exciting. Uh, but since most of my viewers, they're from the Philippines, I don't know. Should I go out there and should I tape? Should I videotape the horrific, scary storm? Oh, all of a sudden, the animals stop yelping, which means something bad is gonna happen. You know. All right, so let's talk about the subject: single or married. Single or married? Why is it important? And by the way, I do think I have figured out who the meek are that are going to inherit the earth. Who are the meekest people on the planet? No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure they have to be the most. Um, is that a word? Can I say it that way? The meekest people on the planet. I'm not sure about that part. Uh, Let me go to my phone because I have my notes on my phone. No, there is not going to be a homework assignment. Yeah, I know it's easy to say, let ye, who cast the first stone, blah, 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 whatever, however it goes. T-slap, T-slap. Yeah, yeah. No, I really don't think about how imperfect you are. I stipulate to that. I stipulate to that and share it with you that I'm as imperfect as any son of a bitch that has ever walked this planet. Now that you know I'm an imperfect human being, is that going to go chase you guys away to go watch somebody else's channel? I hope not, because I really like each and every one of you, and I really appreciate each and every one of you that uh, participate by watching the videos and coming here to taking your time and coming here, even if it's for a moment or two, to participate in the live stream. Tim says I'm single and will never get married again. Yeah, exactly what we're going to be talking about. Uh, a stunning social change. Dun, dun, dun. That we should be terrified of. We should be terrified of this. You should be terrified of this. So what I'm sharing comes from online. It's the article from The Hill. It's called The Hill, and it's by Daniel DeVisi. A record share of Americans are living alone, is living alone. Now, thing is, the reason why I'm talking American, because these demographic trends are starting to occur here in the Philippines, right? But there's not enough data. It's only starting to occur within the last few years. And so they've only been watching this for the last 3 years since the global uh, catastrophe, the global lockdown. And so uh, it may have changed the future of the Philippines. And so if you want to know what's coming, you could always look towards America. You could always look to America to see what's coming to a country near you. Manila Liz is here. Mildred is in the house. Girly Senna, Anime Reyes is hanging in there with us. Manila Liz. Yeah, what are your emojis that you're using, Manila Liz? Mm-hmm. All right, so let's talk about it. Nearly 30% of American households comprise of a single person, and that is at a record high. So every 1/3 household member is a single person. And they're not talking about children here, they're talking about adults. Scholars say living alone is not a friend so much as a transformation. And so they're saying here that it's a deliberate action, that you have made a conscious decision to remain single. It's a stunning social change that you should be aware of that's coming to a country near you. I came to see it as the biggest demographic change in the last century that we failed to recognize and take seriously. You'll see this ties into the other things I've been talking about in terms of social change, and how it impacts the Philippines and how you need to be aware and how you need to preserve the culture of the Philippines. But that's easy to say, harder to do because it's a melting pot of cultures. You would not believe how much the Philippines resembles the United States in terms of uh, the melting pot thing. In other words, the way that you grew up uh, culturally at times can be very confusing. Sometimes you have more of a Western influence depending on your family, and sometimes you have more of an Eastern influence. Sometimes it's a melting of both the Western and the Eastern influence that created and so and your belief system. Isn't that interesting? Because at times, have you run into people that are just so very, very confused in Filipino culture? They're just so very, very confused about things, about who they are, and what the world looks like to them around them is very different than the way that you view it. BB Coys, it's because Jalen Villarreal's, it's because they may have had, I should say it this way, a different cultural upbringing than you. So, uh, but we're social animals. And so what happened? What happened? We're basically social animals that all of a sudden um, are changing. We're going to different route all of a sudden. We're social beings. We need people around us, but I guess not to the point where we want to get married and form families and that sort of thing. Now I know for a fact there are two or three of you in the chat that you have long-term successful relationships with your partners, but truth be told, you are living life as though you're a married couple, but you're single. And so I'm not sure they're counting you in the statistics. Chrissy Mama, I'm not sure. Melting pot in the Philippines, the pot is melted from the climate here. That's the truth. So the U.S. Census, the most recent one, shows that solitaries. This is like a game of cards, right? They're calling them solitaries, which I smiled at when I saw that. Made up 8% of all households in the 1940s. The share of solo households doubled to 18% in the 1970s. I saw the spike. I noticed it. I didn't think much of it back then because I'm just a kid, just an 18-year-old kid in what, 1975 or so, and more than tripled to an estimated 29% in 2022. What happened? What happened? Well, I know one thing that could have happened, right? So, and I'm not sure they talk about it in the article. I'm just going to share these thoughts as they come to me. If you think about it, you have 1/3 of the population is also retirement age. Retirement age probably being over the age of 60. So when you have 1/3 of the population retiring, that you have uh, you have a whole bunch of people passing away at the same time, passing away from old age. They retire and then they pass away. Since women are, since the widow's left behind, do they become widows or single person? So I mean, this is how my brain works when it comes to statistics. So my first thought is they need to define things a little bit more. Who is a single person? Are we talking about single people underneath the age 30, underneath age 25, underneath age? Are we talking 18 to 35? The prime real estate years. Let's read further. So this is the way that my mind thinks. That your mind should be working the same way. It should be thinking. You should be questioning everything that you're reading. So we're social animals. Everybody knows this. And now they're saying by 2022, this number just 1/3 of the population. Boom. All right, that scares me. All right, you have my attention. The solo living movement, now they're referring to it as a movement, intersects with several other societal trends. Americans are marrying later. And Filipinas, they always have tended to wait longer before getting married. And one of the reasons why this may be true is because they're out there and they have to support their families. So they're out there concentrating on their careers. But what does this remind you of, men in the USA? What does this remind you of? Could it possibly remind you of the 1960s and the 1970s, where women sought to seek, equality? And so they went to work. They started working before. For example, my mom, she was a stay-at-home mom. She was a traditional mother. She stayed at home and she cooked dinner for the kids, took care of my father. Very much Filipino like, very much traditional, very traditional. And so, of course, my father passed away. He passed away, in my own opinion, way, way too soon. Way, way too soon. And then, but left my mom uh, financially set. Okay, so he worked his ass off. I can't hardly remember, when it was that my dad was. He stopped working 2 or 3 jobs. I can hardly remember it because I had left the house by the time he'd done it. So by the time my dad left the house, by the time I left the house, my dad was still working 2 jobs in order to raise our family, raise his family, brothers and sisters. Pamela's here. All right. So, but now they're calling this the solo living movement. So is that by design, social design, or is that by choice? In other words, when you ask somebody, because I have 2 adult sons that are approaching 40, if they're not 40 already. I'm lousy with birth dates and geography and things like that. Don't even know where the state of Florida is. If it weren't for us, American Airlines taking me there, I wouldn't be able to find my way out of a paper bag. Does any of that make sense? So now they're calling, but they're 2 older boys doing very well in life, and they have smiles on their face every day, and they don't talk much about getting married and having children. And it's not for me to bring up that subject. It's not for me to say, hey, uh, why aren't you having, why aren't you getting married and having children? In that order. Why aren't you at least shacking up and having kids? Well, anyway, but I take it back. One of my sons did have a heart-to-heart talk with me and said, and gave me the reason. I remember crying inside. I don't think I showed it to him, but he had touched me as the reason, because it's a very, very valid reason, that apparently affected him deeply. Without going into too much detail about that. Yeah, he did. One of them did give me a reason. The other one is just perfectly comfortable being a part of the solo living movement. Barry's in the house. Barry's channel. So now, Barry, welcome, welcome. So let's talk about this a little bit more. They're calling it the solo living movement. So now we have a movement. We don't have a peace movement, but we have a solo living movement. Of course, you don't have to come to the Philippines and talk to them about living and building their lives in a tiny house, because you already live in a tiny house. See? So you don't have to come here and preach to Filipinos about how you should be living in a tiny house. But in the United States, as part of this solo living movement, they are creating solo living environments for people. I know how weird this may sound to the Filipinos that are here in the chat. And this is the reason why I thought it would be important to talk about. Sunflower is here, right? And that is because they're making single living environments in the USA, which is really weird, because here in the Philippines, we live in a small space, and we have a minimum of 3 generations living under one roof. In a lot of cases, there are 4 generations living underneath one roof. And how did that happen? How did that happen? Tim, fact check me on this. But Filipinos are living longer. Hello, surprise. Surprise, the fast food joints show up, frozen foods show up, and then all of a sudden, the life expectancy of Filipinos increases by whatever it is, 6 or 8%. All right, so now, all you women and men out there that are working, that are busting your ass, Lainey is here, that are busting your ass 24/7, trying to come up with ways of making money. Ben Barry, how are you, Barry? Ben Barry. Well, you're going to have to work a lot harder. And you're going to have to probably live in a smaller space. So here's what they're doing in the major cities. They're taking these old government buildings because they're no longer occupied because they're working from home and they don't want to come back to the office. So in the case of Sacramento, it's left all these office buildings vacant. What are they going to do with them? What would you do with them? I know. Lainey, I know what I'll do. I will convert them over to 22 square meter living spaces. And so that's what they're doing. So they're going in there, and as fast as they can convert these buildings, they are converting them over to single solo living apartments, and then bombarding people with, the benefits of living in a tiny space. So we don't have problems living in a tiny space in the Philippines, and I've talked about this. The reasons why is because we live outside most of the time. Even on a rainy day, like today, we live outside. Tim is stating that all the preservatives in fast food are pickling the consumer. That may be true. It may not be. I don't know. But that's an interesting thought. That's the kind of thinking that you need in order to figure out what's going on. So it says Americans are marrying later, if at all, which means, does that necessarily mean that they won't be having children? Not necessarily. And so then they try and get you to think that, if you don't get married, then you most likely will not be having children. But I know plenty of people that are an unmarried couple having children. So there, take that, census. Take that, you demographic geniuses. But more than anything, perhaps, the rise of single-person household is about women entering the workforce. They say it in this article. You see, they say it. It's about women entering the workforce and achieving economic self-sufficiency. Folks, Filipinos, you already know this. I'm just going to spell it out to you. I'm laying it out. I'm sorry if I'm going to offend anyone of you hardworking Filipinos. Or hardworking Filipinos, or for that matter, hardworking Americans who are working 2 and 3 jobs in order to make the rent. The reason why, it is much easier, in my own opinion, these days, for a woman to get a job in the Philippines and or in America for this simple factoid. And anybody in here, you can fact check me on this. I'm just not spewing garbage. Princess Sarah Cha Ram, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And that is that they get away with paying you less money. There, I said it. Okay, all right. I'm waiting for lightning to strike me dead. How dare you? How dare you, Dan? How dare you tell them that? Everyone knows that women are equal to men, and in skill sets and education, they far exceed the education levels, most likely, of every man working in the financial industry or even healthcare. I don't know if any of that is true, what I just said. But for sure, if you look at the stats and you follow them, both in the Philippines, in America, you will see that even though women have a higher level of education, generally speaking, they make less money than a man. And they also have a different way of socializing in the workplace. No, no, no. I'm not talking about they wear short skirts and no, 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 no. That isn't what I mean. They have a different way of getting along in the workplace, which makes them more appealing to hire them. Men are like this, they grunt. You know, it's like a Budweiser commercial. As they're as they're popping the top off of a Budweiser knot. So no, no. They have a different way of socializing because they have a different way because they're socialized differently. You know, they're socialized differently than men. You know, and so but they don't pay them as much money. That's what I'm saying here. So so if you're going up in an interview and in these days in the states, even if it's a male dominated profession, you know they're most likely going to greenlight the woman because there's a disparity in wages. Ben Berry is saying, Dan, if a woman got paid less than men for the same job and hours, why don't the evil white male patriarchy hire only women and save 30%? Well, but it's happening in slow motion. I'm not even saying that isn't the plan. Things happen in slow motion. The cow jumped over the moon. It happens like that. And plus you have to have a generation or generation and a half to socialize kids into believing certain things in school. And so that's why it's mandatory. That's why they don't like kids being homeschooled because they don't really want them thinking for themselves. But you see, they get away with this a lot more in America because it's in its infancy stage here in the Philippines. Some could argue in the chat that it doesn't even exist the way that you're presenting it to us. Dan. Okay. All right. I'm just saying. I already gave the disclaimer. Don't listen to anything Dan has to say. I don't know what more you want. Even the person that sent me the email, what did I say? I told them, I said, listen, can you take Dan too seriously? Not. I'm here because I have ideas in my olden age, my old and golden age. I have ideas that need to be shared with you because I want you to remain free thinkers. I want you to think about this stuff when you're raising your own families, as you're raising your own families. You know, thankfully in the Philippines, you're very, very, it's a conservative population. I'm going to give you that, but in some areas, you know, you let your children, you give them a little bit more room, you know, to make mistakes, and then you're very good about correcting those errors. That's something that's way different than what goes on in Filipino culture. Okay, you want me to give you um, an example. All right, I'm going to give you an example. Oh, Ben, I'm sorry. Dang. Ben, they kids are acculturated differently. They're socialized differently here in the Philippines than they are in America. This is going to offer up. There's going to be a slight buffer zone. You know, there's going to be a little bit of a buffer that exists. A little bit more time is going to be needed to brainwash Filipinos than is needed to brainwash Americans. So more than anything, perhaps the rise of single-person households is about women entering the workforce and achieving economic self-sufficiency. The share of adult women participating in the labor force reached 50% around the 1980s, and boy were we pissed. Yeah, because then it wasn't about a minority taking the job away from a naturalized American, a citizen of the USA. Then it was, that woman has taken my job. Look at her up there climbing that telephone pole. That's my job. I'm the one that should be climbing the telephone pole. Oh, Mike is here. Mike, welcome. Mike is saying if an OFW wants to work in Canada, you don't pay any fees, or for flights to and from Canada, you don't have to work over 44 hours a week unless getting paid overtime. Many rights do not trust a recruiter. Many rights do not trust. I'm not sure I got the last part of that, Mike. Historically speaking, you don't really see people living alone until women have control of their own lives and their own bodies. This guy named Kleinberg said. What? So, so here's what catches my attention, right? Here's the thought. So all of a sudden, where they weren't pushing birth control in the Philippines, now it's right there on the front counter of the 7-Eleven. Yeah, yeah. Now it's right there on the counter at 7-Eleven, and no one seems to be embarrassed picking up the birth control off of the counter and then handing it to the clerk to ring up. And no one blinks even. Tox is in the house. Beautiful Tox is here. Good morning, Tox. So are you, these social changes, they're right there in front of you, Filipinos, they're right there in front of you, to see. So how far off the trail have I gone in presenting this information? How wrong can I be? Does the rising population of solitaries, the single living movement, a bold new age of independence and self-governance, which is interesting. I think when they're talking self-governance, I'm not exactly sure if they're referring to that you live in cooperative living environments and you form associations, and if you want to kick somebody out of your complex because they're having too many parties, that you take a vote, a democratic vote. They make it so that you can vote somebody off the island. I'm not sure if that's what they mean at all. A lot of this in these articles, they don't really define what they're talking. They don't really say what they're talking about. So everybody's here and Tox is here, and so now we're complete. Tox is here, we're complete. So does the rising population signal a bold new age of independence and self-governance, or the end of human society as we know it? Well, how would the demographers be able to predict that by 2035 or 2040 or 2045, the planet will have shrunk by 2 billion people? Now, I understand that 1/3 of the post-war baby boomers in the state and Western countries will be leaving this planet. They will be transitioning to the next life. So I understand that part. They'll be going to heaven or hell, if you will, if you believe in that sort of thing. So now, does that represent 2 billion people? I think not. So how are they making their predictions? Is there going to be a global calamity once again? Will there be another one? And then if there is, how do they know, the demographers, that is, the bean counters, how do they know that it's going to take place? How would they know that it's going to actually happen? Living alone can be a dream come true, said Bella DePaulo, author of the forthcoming book, Single at Heart. Now they're telling you that being single is a dream come true. Isn't there something in the Bible that talks about this? One of you, is there someone in here who has read through the Bible and can cite somewhere where they talk about the dangers of being single, the perils of being single? Is there not something in the Bible that addresses this? This person here, probably are going to hell. Solitary living means you get to curate your own life. Now it's an inconvenience having a family, so I don't consider having a family. It's too inconvenient for me. Too inconvenient. Bringing another human being in this world and then being responsible for raising them. Don't you know it's very expensive raising a child? in the Philippines or anywhere else. Yeah, don't you read the Philippine Star newspaper about how expensive it is to raise a child? Aye, better not have kids because it's too dang expensive to raise them. And you don't have your own life. It's saying here you get to create your own life, curate your own life, which means that life does not belong to you if you have children, right? It is not truly yours to command the direction of. It is centered around your family. No more fighting over the thermostat. That's a good reason for not being married and having kids, Larice. That's a good reason, Pamela, for not having kids. So you don't have to fight over the air conditioning remote control. Other researchers, here's the other side of it, see a market downside to living alone, especially for older Americans. There, now you know why the old men are coming to the Philippines and marrying the young Filipinas. There it is, right? We take action. We're not hanging around. We're not waiting. We we put it all together fast in our heads. And so we come to the Philippines, we find a younger partner, get married, and life is grand until the day we leave this planet. Not so great for the Filipina that is left behind, but in some cases, but it's grand for us because we can count on Filipina and her family to care for us until the day we leave this planet. But you can't do that in the States because they warehouse you. Yeah, they take an old warehouse and they throw a few beds around on the floor and they say, hey, you, old person, we called all your family members and they said that they want you to stay here. And so we threw a mattress for you over there on the floor. Go over there. That's your life from here on until it's time for you to go to the great beyond. Then Barry said, Dan, there's talk. There's a TED talk by Hans Rosling who talks about demographics. It says we will top out 11 billion and then go backwards at a fast rate. I haven't seen that TED talk, but I'm going to go look it up. Thermostat, what is that exactly? Well, we're talking, yeah, obviously we're talking remote control. If you have an inverter system in the Philippines, they don't have centralized air conditioning here, Tim. You know that. The closest they get to it is they have the cartridges, they put in the ceiling, and then they run all the tubing through the ceiling, which I kind of like that idea. That's a pretty cool idea. I don't know if they're any more efficient than a regular inverter, but a New York Times report on aging solitaries concluded aging solitaries. There's what I was talking about. You see, proof that I'm a genius. Yeah. As Nicole Instead family say, we are a very caring person and hardworking all the time, as far as I could tell. Nicole Instead, no argument from me. It's like that all the time. And so, but once you're discovered, will there be enough Filipinos going around? See, because Americans, Westerners are flocking to the Philippines. Contrary to what some YouTube channel talking heads have been saying, we are impacting the cost of goods and services and real estate here in the Philippines because they know that we'll pay the money, we'll pay more money for that Western style house than a Filipino will unless they're in politics, government, or chiefs of police or something like that. And so we're competing, and the Westerner will always have the extra peso to put on that house. We'll come in here and we'll cash out a house. No problem whatsoever. It's because housing is so expensive in the United States. What's an average house now in the US of A? I mean, it's insane how much a house costs in the US of A. You could sell it there, and then you could come here with the profits that you make on appreciation, and you could buy the grandest house that money could buy and pay cash for it. That's how much money we're talking about. And so some of you need to go back and watch our video as we walk through our neighborhood of Candana, Ligaya. And you will see, you'll look around, your eyes will, if your guys aren't like this, big, as you go watching that video, and I'm pointing out the different Western houses that are here. I mean, our house it doesn't even come close to what's being built. We're modest by comparison. We're extremely modest by comparison. It does not mean that it doesn't mean that I'm not a pig. I'm a pig. Oink oink. Okay, Ben is saying I'm an aging solitary, 12 years and going strong. 12 years is about as long as I made it in my single life. And then all of a sudden, I started thinking about things. Started thinking about, hey, I worked hard my entire life. I want to share this with somebody. I want to share it with someone. I can't picture myself living alone, which I did for a long time, 12 years. I had girlfriends come and go. You know, it's America. You know, it's the West. You know, I had girlfriends come and go. They would come and stay for 3 or 4 months, get sick of my stupid ass, and they would move out. One day I'd wake up and their stuff would be gone. I'd be chuckling. Okay, well, another one bites the dust, you know. But I'd been coming by that time. I'd been coming to the Philippines. I've been coming to the Philippines for a very long time, and so I knew what was over here already, waiting for me. That was Ma'am Minnie, and she tolerates me, you know. She tolerates me. Some days are better than others, but most of the time we're on the good side of the relationship. We're just a regular couple. We have disagreements, you know. We have arguments. I know it surprises all of you. Yeah. A New York Times report on the age of solitaires concluded that while many people in their 50s and 60s thrive living solo, again, try to convince you that this is a nice life. Research is unequivocal that people aging alone experience worse physical and mental health outcomes and shorter lifespans. And because I worked for the agency that I worked for, I already knew this. And so now you know it. And so now you know that by moving to the Philippines, of course, Madeline, you already live here. Michelle Lozado, you're already here, thank God. Crystal's Adventures in Pakistan. So the thing is, you'll learn this, that moving to the Philippines adds 10 years to your life or better. But there's no statistic that's going to be, no statistician, no demographer is going to be gathering up data that goes against this by saying that, hey, if you move to Southeast Asia, especially the Philippines, you will increase your lifespan by 10 years. But yet, the Dunkin' Donuts, I'm sharing coffee and donuts with the most intelligent people that I've ever met on this planet, who are in their late 70s, their early 80s, and above, who tell me on a daily basis practically that had they stayed in their own countries, they most likely would be dead by now. So there. And I started thinking about, hey, all the fun is for naught if I don't marry a younger woman and share the survivor's benefits of Social Security with her and share my pension that survives me with this lovely person in the other room, Ma'am Minnie. So you see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? In other words, I actually had conscious thought about this, and you should too. You should too. If you've earned it, share it with somebody. Share it with someone, particularly if they're less fortunate than you are. And the Philippines is as good a place as any to be sharing this accumulated wealth. You may not view it as being wealth, but a Social Security check goes a long way in the Philippines. It goes a lot further there than it does in the country that you're at if you're in the West. Oh, I hope your daughter recovers quickly. I've heard a lot of kids are sick with the cold, the flu, the fever, and that whole thing that's going around. When they take them down to the city clinic, they test them for COVID and negative. So it's just flu season here in the Philippines. I'm a loner and hates to be alone. Yes, okay. Well, um, I think that might be most of us. And that's why this article caught my attention. The national economy, let's see, America doesn't have enough working age citizens to sustain the national economy or to support spiraling healthcare needs of its old citizens. Yes, this is absolutely true. The truest statement that I've seen in the article so far. Folks, in the West, it's a pyramid scheme. And so one of the reasons, and it's a very selfish reason for being here, also on my part. One of the reasons being here is that I already knew that every dog has its day, and that the since America works on a pyramid system, meaning that the worker bees on the bottom support the old people on top. I looked at the demographics years ago, and I said, "Oh, this is not good. This is not good," because right around age 65, things start falling apart in the United States, and we start experiencing a downward spiral, and that's because nobody is having children, and so and their demographic trough that exists in the generation. So basically, a demographic trough is exactly that. It's a dip, right, where there's a lag time of 10 years or more, where your little children become working age. See, so they're down here at age 5 and age 5 to, I don't know, age 10, and they start gaining jobs at 16, 18 years of age, and so you have lag time. So we have a huge population coming up, right? But there's a lag time that is going to devastate the U.S. economy. I mean, you have the echo boomers that are every big as a group of population as the post-war baby boomers that are going to be leaving this planet. But unfortunately, they don't become house buying age for another few years. And so once they become a house buying age, then they continue supporting the U.S. economy by buying houses and all this unnecessary junk that they'll be selling you. But in the meantime, they come to the Philippines where they have a prime for the picking, ripe fruit. They come to the Philippines, they start feeding them the Western garbage. You need a 98-inch TV set. You need all these electronic gadgets. You need. The other problem is the post-war baby boomers, the people that are my age, will be one of the first generations in U.S. history that do not transfer their wealth down to their children. Yeah, and again, we were convinced, we've been trained not to do it. I know a lot of people will say, "What wealth are we talking about?" All right, so a guy gets on YouTube and he says, if you have this much money in your Fidelity account, you have more money than the average American. And I just smiled. I just smiled because I have a little bit more money, just slightly, than the average American has saved. What about Ma'am Minnie? She has twice the amount of the average American in her Fidelity account, sitting there collecting dust because it doesn't do anything. Well, I take that back. It's earning 5.5% interest per year, which ain't bad. Money is more valuable if you spend it now, folks. You're gonna have to take my word on this. It has more value, and this is part of the reason why I love the Filipino culture. Tobias Michaels is saying, "I'm 63, been alone for 13 years. Like Dan, the girls come and go," and that'll continue to happen. But if you know something about your own personality type, Tobias, that I may not be aware of, then you just remain single. You remain single. Marriages may not be a good thing for you, but it doesn't mean that you can't form valuable, important relationships with Filipinas or Filipinos for that matter. So listen, it's not lost on me, folks. Listen, I've already offended 2 or 3 people. I realize that they've already left the channel. They've already left. You unsubscribe from me. All I have to say is, peace be with you. Go in peace. You're not going to believe in Dan's philosophy, but I explained to you it's food for thought. It's food for thought. I already explained that to you. If you're such a shallow individual that you have to unsubscribe and you have to go somewhere else where someone's going to kowtow to your way of thinking, you know, so be it. I'm not angry. I'm not angry. Yeah. Been buried. Tim, you're like me and most men. I want to be alone, but I don't want to be by myself. Yeah, but it would be terribly unfair to get with a Filipina that you're not planning on marrying, especially if you have something to offer up when you leave this planet. And so I'm okay with people do whatever you want, what makes you happy in life. I'm all for that. But I know plenty of people that are buying brand new houses with 30-year mortgages back in the States, fine married couples that are my age or close to it. I mean, does that boggle the mind? And then I will say to them, "Oh, so you plan on being alive in order to retire that 30-year mortgage?" I mean, it's such a weird culture that we live in the United States. It's so strange. In the Philippines, you build your home for cash. If you don't have the cash, you don't you build what you could afford, right? Relatives help you out. You build a native house. I love native houses. I want to live in one someday. That day may be coming sooner than later. Tim is saying none of my pensions will survive me. Social Security does. Social Security does in the form of spousal uh, survivors benefits, and Social Security does in the form of old age retirement. So if you marry a Filipina, Tim, and she has standing, she becomes a naturalized U.S. citizen. Then what ends up happening is at age 67, or I'm sorry, right now it's age 65. I imagine they'll be moving that number up. But at age 65, she gets old age benefits, right? She gets aged benefits. They don't call it old age. They don't want to remind people that they're ancient. They call it age benefits, right? Same as disability. And so that amount right now is something like $1,000 per month, and then they get free health care in the United States. That's a good reason to be married. That's one that I can think of. Dan, I plan on leaving my SS to someone too. I picked the Philippines. Yeah, and so Ma'am Minnie, even though she doesn't have the 10 years qualifying quarter, she has 2 ways to go. She can take Social Security underneath my account because I did meet the 10-year 40 qualifying quarter requirement, or she can wait. If it's more money, she can wait till full retirement age, and then she could collect up uh, Social Security under the age benefit because she has standing. She's a naturalized U.S. citizen. The backup also is going to be we're going to pay into Filipino Social Security, so she also has that at age 60. The rule about that, though, is that you have to have 10 years or 40 qualifying quarters. In the case of the Philippines, it's 10 solid years of contributions. So we'll be contributing, and then at age 60, Ma'am Minnie will take her Social Security from the Philippines because she's not age 50. If you're older than age 50, you can't use this trick. All right. The rise of single person household can be seen both as a cause and effect of those challenges. Okay, there are other challenges why this may be happening, and that jobs are becoming hard. The prevailing wage jobs; those are jobs for which you can afford to make a living and sustain a family. They're getting harder and harder to find, and so that means that people are becoming nomadic. They're moving from the West Coast to the East Coast to the North to the South to the Midwest to all places in order to seek out employment. It's very, very difficult to do when you're trying to raise a family, and your kids would grow up being very, very insecure by you moving around frequently and chasing around the job and the almighty dollar. As a single person, it's easier to live that nomadic lifestyle. So I would like to share with you. I'd like to share with you. Let's see. Tobias is saying in Florida they just voted down alimony, no more, and the women are pissed off. It's too funny because they were the ones to say that we don't need a man. Ha! Well, I'm keeping my mouth shut on the whole subject. Makes me laugh. The whole thing makes me laugh, because maybe we have come to a point in history where uh, those types of things, have become outdated. Nicole and Stead family, we Filipinos are generally a happy people. We can smile whatever the situation it is. Our happy-go-lucky nature, yes, it keeps us smiling. And also, uh, for example, we saw this over that Odette when Hurricane Odette hit, and houses and Ormoc and Bye Bye Sea Lady, they were devastated, right? In that event, 100-year event, I think, or 50-year event, whatever they want to call it. The very second that it stopped raining, actually before that, they started collecting up the salvageable material and rebuilding the homes, right? That's what Filipinos do. So in other words, they just looked around, they gathered up their deceased loved ones, and then once all that was taken care of, they started collecting up the materials that were salvageable that they would be needing in order to rebuild their homes. And you can see that all over Cebu. Also, you can see that all over Toledo. You can see it in the mountains, in the valleys, in the oceans. You can see it everywhere. You see the homes that were put together as a result of the um, devastating typhoons that hit the area. There were two of them, right? Two of them in the last couple of years. Let's see. Inheritance is now taxed in the states. They are hacking away at the trust fund. Yeah, but over a certain amount. The first 250,000. What's a $250,000 amongst friends? That's more money than you'd ever need here in the Philippines. Am I right? Am I right? And they all do it under the disguise of, we're taxing the rich, we're taxing the rich, and then you're the one that ends up getting hurt. Yeah, if you're trying to please everyone, you won't please yourself. Exactly. You can't please everyone. Dan, I want a woman, but I can trust. American women are way too feminist for me. I want a Filipina for a wife. So there you go. If there's single Filipinas in the chat, there you go. You can send Tobias a message. Get to know each other. You never know what may happen. Right? You never know what may happen. Oh, you weren't. You weren't really suggesting that. Okay. A lot of things are lost on me. Pox is still here. Anime. Thanks for hanging in there. Crystal's Adventure. Always a pleasure. Princess Sarah. Big winner the last time around. Lewis here. Ninja. Larissa's Ninja. Pamela. Jaylyn. Valerius. You were winner chicken dinner, weren't you? Aileen Cruz official is here. Crystal's now in the BJ because Crystals has to hold the wrench. Well, you do what you need to do, Crystals. That's for sure. All right, so pretty sure alimony is an American thing. I'm not sure about that. I don't know how it works in other countries, but I sure have done all I could to avoid having to pay it. All right, so I had enough problems living in the States without having to worry about alimony. That's for sure. So Where are we? Where are we? What's the final thought here? What is the final thought? Oh, okay. So uh, I'm not sure if this population of people are the ones to look to for saving the planet, but and the whole Filipino Southeast Asia thing hasn't played out yet. We know in Thailand they stopped having kids. Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam, the same thing is occurring. But where it's not occurring, right, where it seems that the trend is continuing into the Philippines. But Larry's back. Okay, good. The thing where it is happening for sure, where it has not touched their country, is India. And so you may or may not be shocked to hear this, right? But in the East Indian uh, country, Pakistan, India, and other places nearby, this demographic does not exist. They're having children, children, children. And so if the meek shall inherit the earth, I never looked towards India thinking that they were meek, but we need someone who's familiar with the culture to, as a matter of fact, they're very outspoken, intelligent, well educated. They have all the demographic trends the rest of the world is looking for, including having children. But there's one thing missing. One thing, right? They don't go to the electronic stores and buy useless electronics until the shelves are empty in the electronics store. And so, the Philippines is good for something like 10 years. That is if the trend continues. Right? But at any time, we need more than just 3 years worth of data to see if this is truly the way the Philippines is going to be going. But India is interesting because they keep having kids, they keep having children, but they're not exactly running to the appliance store to buy a new wrist. They're not exactly running over to the electronic store to buy the latest and the greatest social media equipment that they need in order to participate in the TikTok. See, and so, but someone who has that experience and the cultural knowledge is going to have to help me out with understanding that culture a little bit better, to tell me why they aren't speaking about going to India and infiltrating India with McDonald's and Jollibee and electronic stores and health food stores, all this stuff that up until now has been the foundation, of the, we're talking about the consumer driven society that still is to a certain degree, the United States of America. And so now China, as you know, a lot of stuff is manufactured there, and they are suffering. Factories are closing. The ports are filling up with 40-foot containers of useless plastic spatulas because they have no market for them. And so why aren't they going to India and selling all this crap that they're producing? 3 years is not enough time to validate the data. That's right. So we don't know. I'm sharing it with you. So you look around and tell me what you see. You look around. Are people marrying? Are they having children? Are they waiting till age 27 to be married in the Philippines? You look around. You tell me what you think. Make sure you comment down below. All right. So, I've been thinking about this whole drawing thing, and I wasn't planning on doing a drawing today, but I don't know. I'm inspired. I wonder if Man Mini. I'm inspired because you guys hung in there with me. Most of you did. There are one of two of you that made your dissatisfaction with what Dan had to say known. That's okay. I'm not banning you. I'm welcoming you. That's okay. Abby is here. I'm not banning you from the side just because you were mean and nasty. Let somebody else do that. I'm welcoming you. I'm sharing the thought because this really is a place, to think, to share your thoughts with the dancer. See if you can change his mind about stuff. Oftentimes, you've been successful changing my viewpoint on certain matters. So, you not contributing is the sin here that's being committed. You not making a contribution. You not being here. You don't have to agree with whatever I say. You don't have to agree just because I'm Dan. You don't have to agree with everything that I'm saying. As a matter of fact, I would think less of you if you did think that. So let me yell out. I apologize. I'm going to yell out to see if Man Minnie is here. If I could get Man Minnie's attention. I know she had things to do. Man Minnie, are you around? Man Minnie, are you here? I think we'll do a 200 peso drawing. Okay, so you know what your number is if you went to my community and you saw the post. All right, we're about ready to wrap things up, and they want you to come in here and draw a name. Draw a number, that is. Go in the community forum or the community post, and you're going to see in my channel all the way up to, I think, 110. So who we have here for number 111 is Sekbuchi. Number 112 is Mandolin. 113 is Trip. 114 is Princess Sarah. 115 is Zamy. 116 is John Ray. 117 is Rachel. 118 is Chris. 119 is Rona Cease. 120 is Michelle. They're saying,
Good morning, everybody.
Hello, pretty wifey. There's
Hello.
Clarice. All right, so I'm going to shake it up a little bit. Shake it, baby, shake it. You
Shake it,
must
baby,
be present
shake it,
to
baby.
win. We have 22 million in the chat, which isn't a bad number. That's, especially when we have 120 in here.
Is this the new one?
Oh, yeah, that's a new camera. So you're going to take, hello, if you said face that one.
Okay, there you go.
All right.
Hello, everybody.
Michelle Lozada is on the list. Yeah, she is. Michelle's number 120. So she's
I
covered.
think I know her.
Who, Michelle? Michelle, do you know Minnie?
Can you ask her?
She has mentioned a couple of times that she thinks she knows
She
you.
came from where?
Yeah. Michelle, where do you live? Are you live in our neighborhood someplace? Chrissy Mom is here saying hello. Girly Sen is here. Shake it, baby. Shake it. Shake it, baby. Shake it. This is for 200 pesos sent to your GCash account.
Hello, Anami and Laurice.
Yeah. So,
Crystal.
all right, listen. If I don't have your GCash, even if I do, make it easy on me and just send me a message, like what happened the other days. I received a message from Princess Sarah. Said, "Hey Dan, here's my GCash. Here's my GCash number." So now we found each other. But even if I have it, just make it easy. Make it easy on me so I can send this off right away. All right, wait a minute. I have to go and do something else. I have to go back and I have to find that posted list. So I have to go back.
Hello, Julie.
Give me 1 second, guys,
Hi,
while I
Dirty.
pull up the list. I pulled up the main list here. Hang on, let that sit there for a moment. I need 2 hands for this. 2 hands for beginners. I apologize. I thought I was ready to go. I'm not ready to go. Okay, now I have the list pulled up.
Sacramento in there.
I have the list pulled up. Okay. All right. I think I'm ready to go. I hope I don't blow it like the last time. All right, Man Minnie, pick.
Okay,
All right, I'm excited.
2, 3,
Pick a
go.
number. Wait.
Say number.
Wait. One only. Okay. And the winner is, holy crap.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Winner, chicken dinner. Number 7. Number 7. Let's see who number 7 is. Number 7 is Alfie Martin. Alfie Martin. Going once.
Alfie Martin.
Alfie Martin is the winner. Alfie Martin, how did you do that?
Yes, percent.
Alfie
Yay.
Martin is the winner. Yay! That was too
enough.
easy. Yeah. Now we're gonna head over to the Dunkin'. Des, if you want, Des said she came looking for us at the Dunkin' yesterday, and we had already left. What time are we going to be there? Are we headed there this morning for coffee and donuts? Alfie, send your Gcash to my messenger, or somebody who has Alfie's Gcash. Can you send that to my messenger? I actually don't know. Alfie, are you a boy or a girl? I think Alfie's a girl. I think. Thank you, Sir Dan and Ma'am Minnie. All right. So now, folks, it's time for Sir Larry. He's in here. Sir Larry's in here.
Hi, Sir Larry.
Time for Sir Larry to take us out of this live stream with those incredible words of wisdom. If we can find Larry, and Larry has a moment to go ahead and put the sentiments up. Larry did say that his schedule would be changing. And so, oh yeah, that's right. Alfie is also Annie MC. That's right. Now I remember. Oh my goodness gracious. You're so lucky, Annie MC. You're so lucky. That's the second time this month or in the last couple of weeks that you're a winner. All right. So, but send me the Gcash number just the same. So it's in front of my face in the messenger. All right. From Sir Larry Lee, remember to be kind to each other. Take care of yourself. Stay safe and healthy. Plus, always try to have fun. And we are out of here, and we'll see you on the next live. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.